What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another video. And yes, I'm talking about Alyssa Mercante again, but this time I'm talking about her mainly because I find what happened in this situation to be just so hilarious. Watching Alyssa Mercante, who is an overtly awful human being, get smacked down so hard by a gaming developer that you just have to revel in the schadenfreude. And what am I actually discussing about this situation? What am I talking about here? Well, we'll come on over to Grum's post here. And this was a screenshot of a now deleted post of an individual going around saying she's an independent game journalist, whatever, and she helped out with a bunch of video games, and one of the games she cites is Ori. And you get this post. Hey new folks, I'm Ray. I work in the gaming industry in UX, R&D, plus game production. I worked on various software and hardware for Xbox. I now work as an independent media producer and had the privilege of working on the Dota Internationals 2023 and other gaming media projects. And as you can see, when you post out pictures of this must indicate that these are some projects that you worked on. But you get Thomas Mahaler down here, who is actually the leading director of Moon Studio, which is the studio that actually made Ori. And you get his little comments here. I'm the director behind both Ori games, and I don't know who you are and how you were affiliated with Ori. And we'll continue on this little path here. And you can see here's this. Obviously, the person responded, and that post has since been deleted, but you get Thomas responding with this. That could explain it. I don't want to cause you any trouble. I just saw your posting that you worked on Ori, and I had no idea who you are. Since you're calling people names online, I thought it was important to inform people that you never actually worked for Moon Studios and that you didn't ever directly engage with anyone at Moon. Always be nice to people, Ray, even those you disagree with, which that's a very nice statement. That's more than likely being more cordial than what Ray was actually doing. But as you can see, both those posts have since been deleted and are no longer available to actually be seen. But you can already see what Alyssa Mercante here, but why don't we hop on over here to see what Alyssa Mercante had to say with this. You're a dickhead. Why would she probably be saying that? Oh, because we come over here to Kotaku, written by Ethan Gotch, which says, report, Ori Studios accused of being oppressive, sexist workplace. Developers say Moon Studios' no bullshit policy gave founders license to bully and demean. And this was an overt hit piece citing another overt hit piece just targeting Moon Studios and the developers of Ori. And honestly was attacking everybody involved with it. Why? Because they were a dedicated studio trying to put out a good product and actually, had some standards and actually held people accountable for trying to make games. But we go back to their back and forth and you get Thomas responding with, I don't know who you are, which is what most people honestly respond with Alyssa with, because who really knows about Alyssa Mercante other than hardcore gaming nerds and hardcore cultural commentators online? Nobody knows about Alyssa Mercante. She's a insignificant speck on the pencil that is humanity. She doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things, but she somehow goes around constantly acting like she has all this power, but at the end of the day just works for Kotaku, which is a laughable journalist outlet, even on gaming journalist outlet standards. But you see, Alyssa, maybe you forgot, Mahler sometimes argued with the veterans that he brought in, and he changed his mind about the decisions they made and would overrule them. Mahler would also forget about agreements and then argue for the opposite to happen, and that impacted the work of multiple people, multiple developers said. And I get it, okay? That seems like Mahler's a guy that's actually trying to do a project and is a leading individual while doing a project at a studio. This sounds like just a commanding dude. Is it a little bit much? I don't know. I never worked underneath the dude. What I can say from what I'm seeing here, this is a man that knew what he wanted to get done. And when things weren't getting done the way he wanted them to get done, he started arguing, saying, hey, do it the way that I wanted it to be done. But you see Thomas Mahler respond with, hey, Alyssa, you're apparently a journalist for Kotaku. So I'm guessing you haven't worked in actual game development yet, which is true. She'll never work in game development and she knows basically nothing about game development. But again, she's like this leading author on game development due to her being at Kotaku when in reality, nobody really acknowledges her other than people to dunk on her. Yes, I'm guilty of what's stated in that image, and that's okay because this is the normal creative process. We brought in lots of veterans into Moon because generally great people want to get the opportunity to work on great projects, and that's our goal at Moon. We always set out to create the kind of games we'd love to play ourselves that fill some hole in the market because for some reason these holes haven't been filled yet, and so we're all incredibly passionate about what we do, and that's a good response and that's a good goal to have when actually making games. Make a game that you yourself want to play. Focus on making a good game. I can respect everything I'm seeing here. I can respect everything this guy is saying, and I like what this guy is saying. Everything there makes sense. Great people want to work on great projects. This all happens. This is all true. Like, I don't know what you're trying to dunk on me for. We're trying to make good games here, and our goal is to make good games. With great talent comes lots of enthusiasm and passion, which absolutely leads to arguments because ultimately everyone is working hard on getting their vision into the game. But also, everyone at Moon understands that we're working together as a team. So the point of these arguments is then to try and convince each other why this or that solution would be the best thing for the game we're making, and the best solution ought to win, which again, have those arguments, have those discussions. I have the discussions with my own crew over for Ballbusters. I have those discussions with other content creators. We debate stuff. We argue about stuff. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. That's an actual thing that creatives do and people in these positions do. This is an everyday process. It's not an authoritarian process and it's not a bad place to work at. This is what creativity is and this is what actual content making is. I know Alyssa Mercante knows nothing about that because all she does is write about spill all day, but that's what she's known for. Most of the time, the beauty behind these arguments is that everybody gets a chance to contribute, and more often than not, the actual solution will be one that ultimately everybody contributed to because we're dealing with very complex issues all the time, and complex problems often also need complex solutions. It is often a chaotic process, but it's controlled chaos. And yes, absolutely, every now and then I have to put my foot down and set the direction because I'm the game director and ultimately it's my responsibility to ensure that everyone knows where things are heading and that decision gets made. That is a smart move. That is a leading individual. This is what a true leader does. Yes, we're going to debate certain projects, and every so often, I'm going to have to come out here, set my foot down, and say, this is what we're doing. You have to remember this is what we're doing. I'm in charge. That's what a true leader does. Again, Alyssa knows nothing about this. She'll just think that it's toxic authoritarian nonsense that, games actually get made with passion and that there's actual leadership within these game studios. I get that, Alyssa. You don't understand anything about that stuff, but obviously this guy does, and you don't. And yes, it has also happened that I agreed to a certain decision, play tested some more, and changed the direction after. Again, to me, this is a normal part of the process since things get clearer and clearer the more stuff gets implemented and the more we play and test. To me, all this is just how creative work happens. It can be painful, but my job, like any good director, is to understand what's going on and make sure the right decision get made. Even if some work might get rendered useless in the process, see here, even Miyamoto is guilty of that. And yeah, this is what we call creativity. This is what we call trying to figure stuff out and figure out what works and what doesn't work to try to make good games. A few years back, we hired some folks that didn't really fit our culture, so we had to part ways with them. And then this article happened. Wasn't a great feeling to see some ex-Moon folks talk badly behind our backs, but ultimately it just made it clear that these folks shouldn't have worked at Moon in the first place, and I hope they're happier now wherever they landed. I don't know why you're out here cursing out game developers and what your whole deal is, but I hope that gave you some insight into the creative process and its messiness, and beauty. I hope you have a nice day. Yours, Dickhead, which is a smart response, which is a very well worded, well crafted response to Alyssa Mercante, who honestly, it's gonna fall on deaf ears. Okay, Thomas? It's gonna fall on deaf ears because she doesn't care. All she cares about is spewing her dribble all over the entire internet, attacking people, thinking that she's the number one individual, that she's the most important person in the reality, when a big name gaming director like yourself knows literally nothing about her and just knows her as a Kotaku journalist, which honestly you should treat her as such, which is the laughing stock of all games journalism, and games journalism is a laughing stock as it is. At the end of the day, what we saw here is a masterclass in dealing with Alyssa Mercante, and as you can very clearly see, Alyssa never once responded to this because she never intended to. This is Alyssa's MO. This is how she responds. This is how she acts. She comes in here, says some nasty stuff, gets called out, gets smacked down, and then runs away with her tail between her legs because she's a wimp. She's weak. She talks a big game, but she can't walk the walk. At the end of the day, this is how you should respond to Alyssa Mercante. A well-crafted response that she'll run away at because you know what you're talking about, and in reality, Alyssa knows absolutely nothing. But I'm going to leave it there. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out, friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video live, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.